If you have your ear to the ground regarding the games industry, I'm sure you've probably heard of this news. But just a couple days ago, there was some earth shattering news regarding Xbox. And this kind of comes off the back of a lot of problems at Xbox, and me being an Xbox fan and user for, over 15 years now. This kind of sucks. So, this via GameSpot, of course, not exactly the bastion of quality game journalism these days. But Xbox is shutting down four studios, including Arkane Austin and Tango GameWorks. Microsoft is folding studios at Bethesda. Xbox is shutting down four studios, including Redfall developer Arkane Austin and Ghostwire Tokyo developer Tango GameWorks. Now, I made a video about Redfall before that game came out, talking about how I was concerned for Arkane Austin. I was like, if this game fails, Arkane Austin is going to be shuttered, and that's exactly what happened. So, I mean, it may not be completely due to Redfall's failure. I think there's several factors going on here. I think there's consolidation happening at Microsoft. They're probably moving some of those devs onto stuff like Elder Scrolls 6 to get the game out quicker. That's my speculation, but we can't know for sure. As shared by IGN, Xbox executive Matt Booty sent out a company-wide email detailing upcoming studio layoffs. Quote, these changes are not a reflection of the creativity and skill of the talented individuals at these teams or the risks they took to try new things, unquote, said Booty in the email. I acknowledge that these changes are also disruptive to the various support teams across ZeniMax and Bethesda that bring our games to market. We are making these tough decisions to create capacity to increase investment in other parts of our portfolio and focus on our priority games. Now, that is not necessarily a bad thing. I know people are immediately saying this is bad news. It is for, I think, like closing Tango is stupid, especially after Hi-Fi Rush got like really good reviews. I think it's about to come out on Switch. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And Phil was saying that the whole point of Game Pass was to foster this creativity and allow these people to fail. And that seems to be complete BS now. And it feels like Xbox is less and less Phil's Xbox and more Satya Nadella's Xbox these days, because I think Satya is probably stepping in and making more of the decisions. Arkane Austin will be closing, and Redfall's most recent update will be the last one ever for the game as its development comes to a close. Booty said, out of context, that's weird. Booty said that the servers will remain online, and Arkane Austin confirmed that those who purchase the premium editions of the game will be eligible to receive credit. Tango is closing as well. Yeah, you're just repeating yourself. They're also closing Alpha Dog Games and Roundhouse Games, which I forgot existed. Alpha Dog made Mighty Doom not too long ago, and Roundhouse was formed after the closure of Human Head, who made the original Prey, not the reboot. Roundhouse will also merge with ZeniMax Online Studios. So yeah, a lot of merging going on. Arkane has been relatively silent since the release of Redfall. Last week marked the one-year anniversary of Redfall's launch, and fans noticed that its promised DLC hadn't been released yet. Yeah, and this comes after the 1,900 layoffs in January. It's the whole industry is imploding right now. It feels like the next gaming crash, because last year this was happening with Sony. Sony had nothing but bad news last year regarding layoffs and closures and cancellations of games. Of course, if I feel like it didn't get as much coverage as the Xbox bad news. Maybe the so-called Xbox tax is real. I don't know. And then shortly after this news, there was more news that came out, and this, as a fan of Prey and Dishonored, this stings. Hi-Fi Rush 2, potential new Dishonored game, were reportedly being pitched by now-closed Xbox studios, and more cuts said to be on the way. So, Tango was pitching Hi-Fi Rush 2. And Arkane Austin and Tango were reportedly in the process of pitching sequels, namely Hi-Fi Rush 2 and a potential new Dishonored game, which is weird to me because Arkane Austin didn't make Dishonored. They helped on the first one, but Arkane Lyon led the development on those games, and they're working on Blade right now. They didn't close, thank God, so there is still one Arkane out there. I'd prefer they be making Dishonored 3. I would love that. But Arkane Austin did make one of my favorite games of last generation, and that is Prey, the reboot. I have been waiting and waiting for a Prey 2, and now it's never going to happen. Now they want to keep making Marvel games because it's a known quantity, And it just sucks that we'll never see that. Process of pitching sequels to two much-loved titles, Hi-Fi Rush 2, and potential new Dishonored game, when Microsoft made the shock decision to close the studios. That's according to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, who, citing sources familiar with the matter, says Arkane had been looking to return to its roots. Yes, that's what I wanted. That's what I warned in that video. I think it was 2 years ago. With Redfall, I was like, you guys aren't built to make a multiplayer shooter. Your bread and butter is immersive sim games, so do what you know. But of course, I think they were forced by Xbox to do to trend chase, which sucks. Following the release of last year's critically panned multiplayer shooter Redfall, and had pitched a new single-player immersive sim. This makes me so mad. Such as a new entry in the Dishonored series. Yes, we should have got 3 or something else. Something similar. Prey 2, I don't care. Just something like Dishonored. Tango, meanwhile, was also in the pitching process, hoping to make a sequel to last year's critically acclaimed rhythm action hit, Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah, it was one of the most successful launches for Bethesda and Xbox, and they can close them. It doesn't make any sense. Inevitably, following Microsoft's decision to shut down both studios, a move that also saw the closure of... I already talked about that. Yeah, this is kind of just repeating themselves. This doesn't make any sense to me. Instead, Booty reportedly said ZeniMax Studios were spread too thin, like, quote, peanut butter on bread. It's like the Bilbo quote. Too much butter scraped over bread, or whatever it is. And that leadership had made the decision to close some of them to free up resources elsewhere. You know what I hope that means? Personally, my favorite Bethesda studio is id Software. And first of all, I will say, if they ever close id, I will be livid. I will make a video, absolutely. I will go on a tear roasting Xbox because id is legendary. You never close id. So the only upside to this is if these people are being taken off of these games because they need them working on Elder Scrolls 6 and whatever id is making. I'm hoping whatever id's next game is probably huge. It's probably very big. As big or bigger than Doom Eternal, and we've all been waiting since then for their next game. And if this is being done to bolster their numbers of developers on that game, then to me, that's a win because I adore id, and I want the next game to be as good as possible. But it still sucks that you have to sacrifice these developers for that, or these studios for that. There's people screaming outside. Booty reportedly praised Hi-Fi Rush, but did not specify why Microsoft had chosen to shut down Tango, and insisted Arkane Austin's closure was unrelated to the poor critical... No, I don't buy that for a second. Yeah, it was unrelated to the poor critical and commercial performance of Redfall. Yeah, right. What sucks is he was probably the one that said, hey, Arkane, make a multiplayer shooter, and then they fail, and then he's like, alright, fine, you're closed. Like, it was probably his call. So, that sucks. He says, quote, it's hard to support 9 studios all across the world with a lean central team. Doesn't Sony do that in Nintendo? Why can't you do it? It sounds like incompetence all around at Xbox. Like, look at 343. They're full of a bunch of idiots, and they've fired a ton of them. With a lean central team with an ever-growing plate of things to do, I think we were about to topple over. Sure. I'm not believing these people. Bloomberg reports a sudden closure of Arkane. Tango, Alpha Dog, and Roundhouse forms part of a widespread cost-cutting. Yeah, it's because of the economy. It sucks. That still isn't finished. According to people familiar, the company has started offering voluntary severance agreements to producers, quality assurance testers, and other ZeniMax employees, while others across the Xbox organization that have been told that more cuts are on the way. Yikes. This week, ZeniMax studio closures follow Microsoft's decision to lay off 1,900 employees. And while condemnation has been widespread, Arkane Leon boss Dinga Bakaba publicly called this week's move a effing gut stab. Yeah, I saw that tweet. That's the guy that's working on Blade. Former Blizzard president Mike Ibarra, well, he was at Xbox, has spoken out in support of Xbox boss, saying, I know this hurts him as much as anyone else. Does it? I don't know. I don't know. At this point, I used to be on Phil's side a lot, but part of me is this definitely takes a big chunk of faith out of what that I had for him. So yeah, it's just bad news all around for Xbox, which really sucks. But I'm still looking forward to the showcase next month, and actually exactly a month from today, in June 9th. So we'll see. Maybe they can bring back some of the some of the faith that people lost in them. But if it like we could have a huge show this year. I'm gonna make a video about my predictions, and I think it is gonna show off their thing. We're gonna get Perfect Dark, Fable, all kinds of stuff. So I'm still holding out. This does not isn't the death knell for Xbox. So let me know what you think about all this bad news in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't. I know it's been a long time since I made a video, but I just haven't been able to. And also, I'm sick right now. If you couldn't notice, but yeah. So I'll just subscribe, share, like, and I will see you next time. Peace out.